Okay, for this question we want to evaluate the definite integral, and the integral is the quantity 3t minus 1 to the 50th power times dt with a lower limit of 0 and an upper bound of 1. So let's go ahead and follow the u substitution. We're going to let u equal 3t minus 1. Then we're going to take the derivative of both sides with respect to t. So we get du, which is equal to 3 dt. And then since we want to isolate dt, we're going to divide both sides by 3. So therefore, we would see that dt is going to equal 1/3 du. Okay, so now let's go ahead and rewrite the original question. So we have a lower bound of 0 and upper bound of 1. This is 3t minus 1 to the 50th power times dt. Now we're going to go ahead and then put in our substitution. So we know that 3t minus 1 is equal to u to the 50th power. And then we're going to multiply it by dt, which again we solved in step number 3 is 1/3 du. And now we got to formulate our upper and lower bounds. So the upper bound, we're going to use what we substituted for u, which is going to be 3 times t, and the upper bound is 1, so it's going to be 3 times 1 minus 1. And then the lower bound is going to be u, which is equal to 3 times 0 minus 1. So let's go ahead and then finish the substitution here. So the upper bound is going to be 3 times 1 minus 1, which becomes 2. The lower bound is 3 times 0 minus 1, which becomes negative 1. We're going to factor out the constant of 1/3, and then we're going to be left with u to the 50th power times du. Okay, so now what we want to do is we're going to go ahead and then find the antiderivative of u to the 50th power. So that's u to the exponent of 50 plus 1 over 50 plus 1. And then we're going to evaluate that with a lower limit of 1 and an upper limit of 2. So let's go ahead and complete this. So we have 1/3 times u to the 51st power over 51, and that would be 51 over 1. And again, the upper and lower limits are negative 1 and 2. I'm going to take 1/3 and then multiply it by the reciprocal of the denominator, which is 1 over 51 times u to the 51, going from negative 1 to 2. So we're going to factor out the constants. So we know that 1 times 1 is going to give us 1. 3 times 51 is going to give us 153. And then we're going to evaluate the limit of u to the 51st power going from negative 1 to 2. So let's go ahead and substitute our upper and lower limits. So we have 1 over 153. And we have 2 to the 51st power minus negative 1 to the 51st power. So we get 1 over 153 times 2 to the 51st power, and that would be a negative times a negative, which would then give us plus 1. So this is our solution. If we wanted to expand that a little bit, we could, but we can leave that as it is. And there is our result.